All right, so today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how to edit and tile pictures just like this in your in Pixlr. So this is a kind of a trend right now where you do multiple facial expressions and then you turn them black and white and you kind of put them in this tile uniform. It's very simple, but it does take a little bit of time to actually organize them all together. Now, the first thing you want to do is take your pictures. You want to make sure that you fill the frame and you have a blank background, same outfit, take all the pictures at the same time and just go wild with it. Don't just take the bare minimum you want to have is 9 pictures, so it would be 3 by 3. But don't just take 9 pictures and be done. Like take like 20 pictures and then pick the 9 best ones, because that's going to ensure that you're going to have the best situation. So blank background, same outfit, nice light. Make sure that you are filling the frame. Look at how she's filling the frame nicely. She also has a ton of different facial expressions and she's like got her arms up. It's a really good example. This one, look at how she's all the same. It's very boring. So make sure that you are actually like showing yourself, showing emotion. And this is really good for helping you to learn how to be a model, as well as tell models what to do when you're doing photos later in like as a professional, because that you have empathy for understanding like what it's like to not know what to do with your hands, with your face and all of that. So it kind of helps you kind of jumpstart your creativity. So the next thing you want to do is we are going to be putting them all into Pixlr just like this. And so I'm going to actually make a new picture. And you're going to, I want to set it to an Instagram story site. So it's 1080 by 1920. And the reason why is because this is going to help us size our pictures. It's going to streamline the process a lot faster. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop in my images. So what you want to do, you take your picture, drag it in, and then you go to thing, add to current. And you just keep doing that with your 9 favorite pictures. So I'm going to drag and drop, add to current, drag and drop, add to current, drag and drop, add to current. And I use my daughter for this one just because I thought that it would be funner to have pictures of her for this project than just pictures of myself, because then I'll actually share pictures of her where I wouldn't share my picture. And I have a thing against digital garbage. I don't want you just to make something for no reason. So have fun with it when you start doing these. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to size it so that they can fit 3 across and 3 down. So the way that I found that works best for this is you select the top image, you go to the place where it says width, and you go 360. As soon as you do 360, it shows up here and it fits right there. It automatically sizes the rest of it. So all you have to do is 360. You don't have to try an eyeball to get it to fit. And if it's 360, that means it'll perfectly fit across your screen for a 3-way tile. So look at that. And it clicks right into place. So you want to do this, keep going across and fitting them in, double clicking, 360. If you have to erase and you have to keep sizing it and changing it, you're going to find that you have a lot more work to do. So it's important to always have the planning of this done, having everything done up front so that when you go in to edit, you don't have to make more work for yourself than you need. So I'm going to go to the one that I've actually finished because you don't have to watch me size all of these. So here it is after it's done. Now, something else that I wanted to show you. Notice how it isn't long enough. Like it's too long for 3 down. You have to size it. The way you can size it is by going to crop, and then you can bring it up. And the reason why I still want to leave some at the bottom is that the Instagram story 360 is how much you want to go across, but depending on what camera you use, your pictures might be shorter or longer. And so it's easier just to make the grid and then size it to the smaller grid. So that's how I would suggest doing that. So I'm going to show you right here though, once you start going in and sizing it, you want to make sure that you do not leave any spaces and that it lines up nicely. So look at how there's just that tiny pixel of space right there that's in the way. I'm going to use my arrow key on my desktop to actually bring it up instead of trying to finagle it with my mouse. So if I just go like that, then it just moves up a tiny bit and I don't have to. Now look at how this perfectly lines up these 4 corners. That's important because you may not be able to notice it now, but once you bring it out, you're going to be able to notice it and it's going to drive you crazy. So I'm going to bring these up so that they're about the right size. And they're all aligned up. And then to click it into place, that last little bit, I'm just going to use the cursor then it's perfectly lined up. So now that I zoom out, look at, I've got that tiny little bit of space. Ooh, I still was a little off. I'm going to bring that one back up. There we go. I think this one's a little off too. Is that off? Check your corners. Always check your corners. I bet it's this top one. Whoa! Zip, 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 zip. I bet that's why it's off. Yeah, that's why it was off. All right. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Okay. So now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to grab my crop and I'm going to bring it up so it's all sized. Maybe even take a little bit off the bottom. I'm going to take maybe just a little off the top here. Not too much, because then this middle one will be bigger. And I think that's just right. Kind of squares it all up, finishes up, and then you're good to go. So now it's time to actually edit them. And when you edit them, if you have them all on different layers, you're going to be kind of in trouble. You don't want to have them all on different layers. So how you do this is you go over here, you right click, you go to merge visible, boop. It's all one layer now. So when you edit them, you're going to edit them all. So now I'm going to go to adjustments and I'm going to go to brightness and contrast first. I always like to do this first before. There we go. I'm going to make it a little darker. I want to have it contrast up and the darkness down. I do this before I take away the color because I feel like doing a little bit of pre-editing helps to make a better image. So now I'm going to go to adjustments and we're going to turn it black and white. We go to hue and saturation and we're going to turn down the saturation. Now, when you do this, it really does just flatten the image. I don't want to have it just as a flat image, so I'm going to go to adjustments and curves, and I'm going to make a gentle S curve. I'm going to bring this one down to make it darker, bring this one up to make it a little bit lighter, and then grab this in the middle to kind of determine. I kind of like that. So notice how I've got a little bit more contrast. Don't go too far. There's a reason why we call this gentle S curve. Now there's another technique. It's called crushing your blacks, and it's where you bring up the black just a little bit, and what it does is I no longer have true black in the bottom here. It's actually like a grayish black. So this is before I edited, this is after. I like how that looks. All right, so I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so I can kind of see her a little bit easier, and I'm going to go into my adjustments again. And I'm going to go, I'm not going to need temperature and tint because it's already black and white. I don't need color lookup, but I do want to look up highlights and shadows. So right here is a shadow, so I can control that. I can make it a lighter shadow, or I can bring it and make it a darker shadow. Or that's highlights, blah, it's highlights. So I can make those highlights brighter or darker. Notice how when I bring it up, it kind of darkens everything a little bit more. I want it to keep it nice and bright. Let's check out the shadows. Yeah, I want to really keep this nice and contrasted, but I don't want it to be so far that it looks like desperate and sad. So there we go. I've got her kind of nice contrast, good like darkness versus shadow. She doesn't just blend in as all grays. I wish she would have put her hands above her head to really like fill what I call these top quadrants here, to really add more motion to each frame, but she's a baby. It's hard to control a baby. So I'm happy with how this looks. Don't just stop at turning it black and white. Make sure that you take that little extra effort to really make that contrast. Contrast is like you have true blacks, you have true white, and you really show the contrast in there. Now, one last thing, if you really wanted to do this, I would suggest doing this before you turn it black and white, but let's say you have a little piece in the back here. You could actually add a band-aid to that to get rid of it if you really wanted to. You could band-aid over it. That one doesn't quite work because it's a little blurred, but you could also take this cloning tool and you could just erase it. But sometimes that ends up being more distracting than just having the picture in there. But if you had something like all of a sudden you realized you had like a big old like smudge in the back that looked like a poop stain and you wanted to get rid of it, that's one way that you can kind of fix up that distracting background too. All right, so that is how to create a tiled style black and white picture, and I hope everyone found this video helpful, and good luck. I am excited to see what you do with it. Have a great day, everybody.